Hi, my name's Josh, and today we are going to equip you with the tools to do a social media detox. It may sound like a bit of a buzzword or a trend, but I guarantee you it's something you need in your life right now. Without a doubt, social media is having a massive impact on our lives and society today. It's changing the sort of political beliefs that we hold. It's changing the way that we interact with people we know, but it's also reconnecting us with people we may have otherwise lost contact with over time. So we can't ignore the benefits of social media, the ability to kind of smash down physical barriers and bring people together. But too much social media is a problem, and we are seeing an increasing number of people battling with social media addiction, not knowing what to do about it, and isolating themselves and living more in the virtual world than the real world. So there comes a point in time where a social media detox could be something that you really need. And I think more importantly as well is understanding the impact that big tech is having and the interest that big tech has. So companies like Facebook and Amazon and Google in keeping you engaged, keeping you addicted to their platform so that they can sell more product or more ads to you. This is their commercial model, and this is what this is founded on. So what we want to do today is dive into a bit of a presentation, really, taking you through why you should care about this, why you should even consider a social media detox in the first place, the benefits of doing a social media detox, and some steps that you can start doing right now to actually start on your journey of becoming a happier, better, and more balanced you. And I love this image of social media detox because, they've just really anchored it in that world of detoxing that we all know and understand, and we need to do from time to time when it comes to things like diet. So think about it in the same way. Your brain needs to be fed healthy things for it to operate in the best way and for you to be in the best mood and to battle things like anxiety and depression. So, the first thing to think about is social media being a drug. And just as though every morning you need a cup of caffeine to get going, or maybe you feel like you need a drink every Friday night, think about social media as a drug. And when you start to reframe the way that you look at it, this is going to give you a whole new perspective around your attitudes towards it and how you might start to think about it as being a thing in your life that you really need to control and put a bit more focus and energy on. And this image, really, I think I've heard this term once before, the glow-faced loser, the person that's just constantly sitting there with the glow of their mobile screen reflecting off their face. And, I think we need to be careful that the phone is a powerful tool. It's a great tool that enables us to do better things. It has the whole information of the history of the world at our fingertips, but it shouldn't control us. On average, people are spending an hour and 40 minutes per day on social media, and that's the average. So if you amortize that over the entire population of Australia or the US or the world, it's a really large chunk of our time. That's almost 2 hours out of a 24-hour day, and you consider 8 hours sleeping. So 8 hours sleeping, it's a 16-hour day. So out of those 16 hours, it's 1/8 that we're spending on social media, which is insane. And this is just the average. So there's people obviously spending 3, 4, 5 hours, which is really on that sort of danger side of things. So if you're over this time, you're above average and you need to consider a social media detox. So what are the benefits of doing a social media detox? Well, the first thing is to break the social media comparison cycle. So the whole idea of keeping up with the Joneses, like it's, my friend from high school's got married, they've got kids already, or I've just seen them buy a new house, or they're living this amazing lifestyle and traveling. That doesn't help you at all. You need to stop comparing yourself to others and focus on you and your own goals and setting your own goals and making that your sole focus. So stop comparing yourself to others. So that's one of the key benefits. The other is protecting your privacy, and you cannot trust big tech to look after privacy for you. So the more information you're putting out there, the more personal information you're putting on Facebook, the conversations you're having, all that's being recorded somewhere, probably being sold to advertisers, let alone the threat of cyber hackers and people actually taking that information and doing something untoward with it, finding ways to manipulate you or to scam you, those sorts of things as well. So privacy is something you need to be more and more conscious of as our world gets more and more digital, and something that you're definitely going to benefit from if you go on a social media detox. The next thing is stopping feeling so competitive. So similar to that first benefit we spoke about, that idea of keeping up with the Joneses, regardless of how you behave and interact online with others, the environment is a competitive environment. People are trying to get more likes, they're trying to get more views, they're trying to grow their business. That's going to affect your personality, and it's going to affect how you behave back in the real world as well. So one of the benefits is stopping to feel like you have to be so competitive all the time. It should improve your overall mood too. So I think you've all probably heard that getting a like or getting a comment gives you that little dopamine hit. But what it actually is doing is offsetting the balance. It's making dopamine kind of happen too frequently. And this in turn screws with the chemical structure and balance in your brain. So we are actually hardwired to have periodic hits of dopamine. So when you're doing it based on things happening in the real world, based on an accomplishment or achievement or a one-to-one physical interaction with someone, that's how we're engineered to behave, and that's how our brain's engineered to achieve balance. So when you're getting it constantly throughout the day, and you might get 100 likes a day, or maybe it's more, it's actually screwing with that imbalance, which actually in turn leads to things like anxiety and depression. The other great benefit you can get is conquering your fear of missing out. So again, seeing someone on a holiday when you haven't got money saved for a holiday, or you're trapped at home, particularly these days with COVID, this is another thing that kind of breeds anxiety, this fear of missing out. It's not a great emotion to be experiencing and can lead to depression down the road if left untreated as well. So another key benefit. And ultimately, it's really about trying to reconnect with the real world. So connecting with people in your own family. You've all seen that scene of people sitting around the lounge room all on their phones with a TV running in the background. So, if you took social media and technology and phones out of your life for a while, you'll find that you actually just naturally start to kind of interact and connect with people in your own home first, then hopefully with friends, and then obviously getting out there into nature in the real world and sparking up a new hobby again, or going for a long bushwalk or a run or exercising. These are all things that you'll start to do when you get a bit more time back into your life. Another key benefit is stopping to obsess over the past. So by virtue of having a digital record of everything you've done, even the way the Facebook algorithm works in terms of serving up memories for you, you're going to start to focus on points in time in your life that may have been better, or you're going to start to ask questions about where you're at now. And that can be really unhealthy. So, really, I think as humans, we need to just constantly be looking forward, striving for improvement and looking towards the future, being excited about the future. And this is what's going to drive a happier mood overall. And this is probably an obvious one, but you'll get to gain a lot of free time by going on a social media detox. Great. So how do you actually do a social media detox? Well, the first hour in the day is the most important hour, and you need to win the first hour. And I heard a lot of people say this. So get up, rather than sort of rolling over and picking up my phone first thing. How about you say hello to a loved one, or you jump up and do some exercise, or you cook a really healthy breakfast. Winning the day from the first hour sets you up for a better day overall and more successes and accomplishments over the whole day. So a great thing you can do straight away is start a new morning habit and say, I'm not going to pick up my phone, I'm not going to turn to social media in the first hour, and I'm going to find something else to do that's going to kickstart my day and get me going. Next thing you can do is actually just delete your social media apps, which may feel obvious, and it's not saying go off social media, it's saying remove them from your phone, for example, the thing that you have in your pocket constantly. So you may still want to just, browse Facebook on the evening, so maybe restrict where and how you use it, restrict it to a desktop PC at home or a Mac or a computer or whatever you've got, but actually taking them off the thing that you use most frequency is a way to kind of limit and restrict how often you're using them. The other thing you do is just replace social media with a new hobby. And it's amazing how many things you can reconnect with that you used to do in your childhood. So maybe as a kid, you used to draw a lot, or you used to, swim or do a particular type of exercise, or you used to love cooking, or whatever those things might be. So getting that hour and 40 minutes back in the day is like, what are you going to do with that time? Like, what could you do? What passion could you go after? Could you start making YouTube videos, for example? Certainly something I've started doing now that I've got a bit more free time. So I think that's one key thing as well, which can just offer a bit of distraction to help you get away, but also find something to do that you really love. That's maybe a bit more meaningful, and you're kind of working on your craft or getting better at doing something over time. The other thing you do is break the habit of reaching for your phone. So, maybe not keeping the phone on your bedside table when you sleep, put it in another room to charge, move the charger, doing other simple things like not having it in your pocket at all times, maybe put it in your bag or your backpack instead. Simple things like that, and just reminding yourself that when you're bored, not just to reach for that, because it's once you're in there, you're sucked in, and you're going to end up spending, well, you might intend to pick it up for 5 minutes, but you probably end up spending 10, 15 or half an hour quite easily. And then the other thing is to think about and reframe how you think about technology. Think about technology as a tool, and it is an incredibly powerful tool. It's a tool for productivity. It's a tool for research. It's a tool for learning and education, not just for social media. So if you are taking those apps off your phone, maybe replace them with things like Headspace or Udemy, pick up a short course, do something like that. So change your attitudes towards technology and the role that technology plays in your life and what it can actually do to enhance your life. And pay attention to the media that you do consume. So if you're not going to give up social media completely, think about what am I actually watching and what value am I getting from that media? But think more holistically about other media that might be influencing you in your life too. So other particular TV shows that you watch, is there something you're streaming on Netflix? And are they helping to shape or feed that FOMO of using social media and making you feel like you need to use social media more? And simple tool as well, in terms of how you can go on a social media detox, is setting some goals for yourself. So whether it's 1 day initially or a week or 30 days, that's the golden rule of goal setting, is making sure it's specific, it's time orientated, and something you can kind of track your progress towards. And maybe having a physical tracker, maybe not technology in this instance, you could put something up on your fridge or a calendar and mark the days off one by one. That'll just give you that sense of progress, and it will get easier over time. And one thing to remember is it does take, and science and research have backed this up, it takes 6 weeks to break in a new habit and for that habit to become your new reality. So if you were trying to figure out how long you should do it for, if you can do it for 6 weeks, it'll completely change your life. And the last one is one that I've added, which is not really based on any research, but maybe look into big tech, look into how they create those algorithms. How do they drive engagement? Like, what are they actually doing here? And there's some great resources, and I'll share one of them with you in a moment, but try and scare yourself a little bit. Like, scare yourself about what people can do with your data. Scare yourself about how you're being manipulated into watching one content video on YouTube after the other. They're all based on, deep behavioral insights that inform these algorithms that actually you probably have a lot less control over what you're consuming and how much you're consuming than you probably realize. So really great documentary you can watch on Netflix is called The Social Dilemma. And this is probably the best that I've seen in terms of actually kind of giving you a bit of a look behind the scenes about social media and how these companies operate and how they connect with you and get your attention, hook you in and keep you engaged. And there's a lot of interviews with like ex-employees from Facebook and other kind of big major social platforms. So it's really quite an enlightening piece for you to watch. And it's really brought to life in a great way as well. So, you can think about as a young, impressionable teenager or someone that's kind of thinking about dating and the impact that social media is having on you and your view of the world. It's really quite profound. So skill yourself up on this, educate yourself on this, and it's really going to help you over time. So just one thing to finish up on, and I find this quote inspirational. I've been using it for years and years now, but it's a quote from Oscar Wilde, and Oscar Wilde's just got a way of writing and really putting things that I think really resonates. But to live is the rarest thing on earth. Most people exist, that is all. So ask yourself, are you just existing right now, or are you really living? And do you want to be the same as everyone else, or do you want to have a life that you can look back and reflect on and say, I really lived that, and I lived that to the max? And is that doing that through social media? My name's been JP. This is the $1 Billion Haters Club. And we want to know what you think. But more importantly, we want to kind of understand, where are you at with your social media maturity, where you're at with your addiction, how addicted are you, and do you think the benefits are worthwhile in going on a social media detox, and do you think these tools will help? And if you've got any others, please share them with us as well. Peace and love to you all. Keep your mind healthy. Do the social media detox. You won't regret it, I promise.